If there's one thing that's certain in life, it's death. British English has lots of special words and expressions that are used at this sad time. And in today's lesson, you're not only going to learn their meaning, but also hear them being used in a real life, or rather, life and death situation. As usual, check your inbox for the free guide to all the vocabulary used today, but if you haven't already given us your email, then just click the link in the description to get your free copy. Stay until the end of the video to really improve your English speaking skills by taking part in a full conversation. Hi, I'm Steve. Let's do this. In British English, people rarely say someone has died directly.
You remember Mrs. Davis from next door?
The one who moved in with their son's family last year.
Yes, I'm afraid she's passed away.
Instead, we make it seem not as bad by using phrases like you just heard, passed away. These are considered polite and respectful. To pronounce this correctly, the ed at the end is said with a t sound, so it's passed. And this t sound is moved to the front of the a in a way. So slowly it sounds like this, passed away. And at normal speed, passed away. You try. She passed away. Another kind way to talk about people who have died is to use an alternative word, deceased. Or this expression, whatever happened to her husband?
He's no longer with us.
No longer with us. Sometimes British people use humorous expressions to replace died, which aren't very respectful. For example, kick the bucket.
Whatever happened to our old teacher?
Mr. Clegg, he kicked the bucket ages ago. Or pop their clogs.
When did your dog die?
She popped her clogs last year. It may seem strange to hear humour being used like this, but it's the British way to cope with sad things. But to stay safe, it's probably best if you stick to being very formal at times like these. After someone dies, their body is usually taken to a mortuary, which can be in a hospital or a funeral home, where they're prepared for burial and put in a grave like this. Or cremation, which is where the body is taken to a building called a crematorium and burned. The organisation of all this is done by a professional called an undertaker. These people are also known as funeral directors. And a funeral refers to the entire process of ceremonies and traditions that take place after someone dies. A family member of the deceased is referred to as bereaved. And when you speak with them, well, this is where English gets really formal. And this is described as expressing condolences. In other words, sympathy after someone has passed away. There are a few useful phrases that you can use, and the simplest is simply to say, "We're both so sorry to hear about your mum." Notice the use of so here to intensify the meaning of sorry and how much it's stressed in the sentence, "I'm so sorry for your loss." You also often hear the expression, "My thoughts are with you," and occasionally you may hear, "Rest in peace." It's also traditional to use these phrases in condolence cards, which are sent to the family of the deceased person, sometimes together with special flower arrangements, like this, which are called wreaths. Notice the silent W at the start of wreath. In Britain, funerals are often solemn and sad, but they're also a celebration of that person's life. At the service, which is usually held in a religious building or at the crematorium, you will often hear a eulogy, which is a short speech given by a member of the deceased's family or their friends. And in it, they'll talk about all the good things that happened to this person when they were alive. An interesting pronunciation point that you should be aware of here, that even though the word eulogy begins with a vowel, the letter E, it's said with a Y sound. And because of that, we use the article a. So it's a eulogy, never an eulogy. This change simply makes it easier to pronounce. You try, a eulogy. Although it's normal to wear black or dark clothing at the funeral, there's been a trend away from this in recent years, and you might be asked to wear brightly coloured clothing instead. After the funeral is complete, you might be invited to attend a gathering of family and friends of the deceased to have food and drinks and share memories about them. This is known as a wake. But she did have a good innings.
Thanks. You're right, she did. Are you coming to the community centre? We're holding the wake there.
You just heard an interesting English expression, had a good innings. And this means that someone had a long life. It comes from the game of cricket, where a batsman has a good innings if they stay in the game for a long time. You can almost guarantee that if the deceased was old when they died, that someone will say they had a good innings.
It's a really good turnout, isn't it?
Yes, she was very popular.
Here's to you, Mrs. Davis.
To Mrs. Davis. You just heard the expression a good turnout, which is another way of saying a lot of people attended. Now it's your turn. You're going to take the place of Kerry in the conversation. Your words will appear on the screen as you need them, and for the best results, speak out loud. The one who moved in with her son's family last year. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Whatever happened to her husband? Where did she die? Will we be attending the funeral? Where are they holding it? I'll have to root out my black tie. We're both so sorry to hear about your mum, but she did have a good innings.
Thanks. You're right, she did. Are you coming to the community centre? We're holding the wake there.
That's very kind of you to invite us. We'd be delighted to come. Yes, she was very popular. To Mrs. Davis. Language reflects culture and understanding. How Brits talk about death isn't just about words, it's about feelings, humour and traditions. Whether it's euphemisms, condolences or customs, you're now better equipped to navigate this delicate topic. If you found this helpful, please hit the like And let me know in the comments if the British way of dealing and talking about death is different from how it's dealt with in your country. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.